Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome to Holy BatCast, brought to you by real fans for real movies. You can find us all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, you'll find us. And if you're a big fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, a big thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. We really do appreciate you taking care of us the way you do. So big thank you. We know, you have the option, and all of you went that extra step, and it really does mean a lot to us. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network, so if you're looking for other shows to check out, go to rf4rm.com. It's still not populating with new episodes, but at least you can see the list of all the different shows there, and then seek them out from your favorite podcast app of choice. And as always, I'm Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. This episode, we're still celebrating the summer of Superman as we get closer and closer to the release of the new film. So tonight, we're going to be talking about our, I don't even know if 10 favorite, but 10 great Superman moments in media and film. For me, they're in film. I can't speak to for my co-host, but 10 great Superman moments in film, I think. And joining me, my co-host, you know him, you love him, he's back. It's Brendan Lowe. Hi, Brendan.
How you going, my friend?
I'm fine. Had a long day at the theme parks today, but, now I get to wrap up by chatting with you.
Nice. You got to hang out with someone who we know and love, who pooed themselves twice, Anthony Caruso, and Harley was also there, so...
No one else heard that story. So I got to meet a real fan, fellow Batman fan, Anthony Caruso in person for the first time. Very exciting. And Harley pooed herself twice.
I was confused. That's my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
And when you say 10 moments, that's 5 from each, isn't it?
Yes, correct. 10 total.
Cool. So maybe it might not be 10. You never know. We might double up.
That is very true too. We'll see how it goes. But that topic was suggested to us by another Batman fan, friend of the show, Aaron Cajanto. So yes. We appreciate the idea, Aaron.
Who I met in real life a bit over 2 weeks ago now.
Oh my God. I love meeting internet friends in real life. It's weird, but cool.
Yeah. When is it ever going to happen for us?
Never. I don't think. We and Catherine, literally just yesterday, we were talking just about stuff. And I was saying with 2 small kids at home, my social life is essentially our group chats. Mm-hmm. And she goes, it is crazy that like one of your best friends who you talk to every day of your life, you've never actually met. I'm like, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
But is what it is.
Yeah.
Better than nothing. I was
going to say I wouldn't have it any other way, but ideally I would. I'd love to be with you in person. So.
Well, it's going to happen. We'll make it happen someday.
Of course it will.
Yeah, it's cool to meet people that you've met through podcasting and through our fandom. So you got to hang out with Aaron. I got to hang out with Anthony. It's cool when it happens. I got to meet Eric Carter. Well, at this point, it was a year ago. But, got to meet Eric Carter. So, yeah, it's cool when that happens.
Nice.
But anyway, Aaron messaged me and was like, hey, something else I was thinking. What if you did like favorite Superman moments? I was like, great, perfect, love it. That's easy. I dig it.
No homework.
No homework. It took me all of 5 seconds to pick 5. And, I love it when it's that easy. So let's do it. Let's continue celebrating the Man of Steel and talk about some of our favorite Superman moments.
Now you say it took you all of 5 seconds. It probably took me about 25.
Okay,
because there's one moment that I haven't put in there, but I really wanted to put in there. So it's just like people will be ticked off if I have in 5 if 2 of them are from Superman Returns. Uh, and I had to make a choice there, but there's one that I at the end I might have to give an honorable mention to.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean it was pretty easy, but to your point, like I could have done 5 from Superman the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to spread the love amongst many of the different movies, and I don't even want to say I didn't try to pick like less obvious choices, but some of my choices are less obvious because I just really love those moments.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I only have one double up, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I've got one. Like, I have 2 moments from one movie as well.
Yeah. So, and so did you stick with movies? Because I know you were thinking of maybe not.
One of them is TV.
Okay.
So it's
So,
still live action, but one of them is TV.
all right. Well, so that breaks the formula, but that's fine. I stuck with movies. I stuck with live action movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. With all those disclaimers out of the way, it's time to talk about great Superman moments. And so, um, here we go. Why don't you get us started with your first choice there, Brendan?
Okay, and I will preface all this by saying too, none of them are in. It's not in numerical order. Like, this is just my 5. So
Sure.
I'm not counting down 5 to 1. And my first choice is the one that came to my mind. Firstly, because when I was constructing this list, I was watching the movie, and that is the plane rescue scene from Superman Returns. Now, I don't know if you've got that in your list or not, but yeah, I think that is one of the greatest moments of Superman on film. Love or hate that movie, you can't argue that that is a great Superman moment. It was the first time on the big screen or in live action, really, that we got to see, um, a Superman scene not held back by the limits of what was available special effects wise in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s. Like, it was really, you know, no pun intended, we really got to see Superman unchained.
Mhm.
And yeah, just the way he moves, the way he flies, the way he handles the plane, um, the way he brings it down. And like, I love the part too, how he sort of like when he really takes the full weight of the plane and the nose cone sort of breaks,
Oh
and then
yeah,
you see
yeah.
that ripple go up through the plane.
Mhm.
And from the start of that scene and all the way through to the very end, and I mean, it's so Reeve, but the way he, checks that everyone's okay and then gives the speech about, he hopes it doesn't deter people. I'm paraphrasing, but, he hopes it doesn't deter people from flying. It's still one of the safest ways to travel. And, just that look that he gives the crowd when he flies off. And I tell you what, like watching that movie the other night, I always liked Brendan Routh, but I hadn't watched it for a while, and God, he was good. Like, again, love or hate that movie. Like, none of the problems with that movie was Brendan Routh's casting, and he was such a good Superman. So yeah, I had to have him in there with that moment.
All right, cool. I do not have this moment on my list. I figured it would be on yours, or it tends to be on a lot of people's lists. I will say I like this sequence. I don't
Hmm.
like it as much as other people.
Okay.
Um, I think it is good. I think that people think it's better than it is because it's the only action scene in that 2.5 hour movie. And so I think the rest of the movie lifts up this scene because compared to the rest of that movie, it's like, yeah, that's the one fun part.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about that movie at length, I think, in a future, in a not too distant future episode. But I'll just say, rewatching it the other night, I was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Like, I know it's got its faults, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is either.
It's not terrible, and again,
I just
we've
enjoyed
talked
it. I
about it in the
really
past.
enjoyed it.
It's not terrible. It's just again, it's kind of dull. And so that scene stands out. In a better movie, that scene would be one of many, but in that movie, it's the only one.
Mm. No, I can see that.
But it is a good sequence, and it's certainly the highlight of the film, without a
Yeah.
doubt. All right. Well, then, for my first choice, like you said, they're not really in an order, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to do it in a way that makes sense. But my first choice, I will start with Superman the movie from 1978, and it is one of my one of my favorite moments, and also one of my favorite shots in the film. And it happens right after "Can You Read My Mind?"
Okay.
After, not actually "Can You Read My Mind?" but after they have their romantic flight, and he drops her back off,
Uh-huh.
and he waves goodbye and flies away. And then we follow Lois away from the balcony, all in one shot, to the front door, and the front door opens, and it's Clark.
Yes.
That shot is amazing. It's a great Superman moment, and the fact that we get them both, it
It
is,
bookends it, yeah.
oh my god, it's the simplest trick, but it works amazingly still. All these years later, I just rewatched it the other day. I mean, we were both rewatching all the Superman movies.
Mhm.
So, it's this one's more about the moment than like it being about a character moment. It's just such a cool moment in that movie. Where you're like, "Oh, Donner, you knew what you were doing. That's just awesome. Like what a great you could have just cheated. You could have just cut.
Yep.
But you didn't. You wanted Superman and Clark in the same shot, not doing the old split screen routine. You leave Superman and you pan over and there's Clark at the door. It's awesome. So I absolutely love that moment. And then it is also followed by the other iconic moment where Clark takes off his glasses and he straightens his posture, and you see
Mhm.
Christopher Reeve become Superman in that moment. But that moment has been celebrated by the internet a million jillion times. Anytime someone feels bad about themselves and one gets a million retweets, they retweet that, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that is great." And it's like, "Yeah, we know it's all great. We know." Um, so that moment is cool, but the moment that precedes it, of Superman flying away and then Clark, I just think it's awesome.
Yeah. No, look, yeah, that's a very good moment too. No arguments here.
Yeah, really well done, well executed. Love it. So, all right, well, on to your next choice then, I guess, Brendan.
Okay, so my second choice is, I guess we just call it First Flight, from Man of Steel. And I think when we did our like top DCEU moments, I might have picked this because I have a feeling I've talked about it before. But
I think so. It sounds right.
yeah, that shot of him emerging from the ship slash fortress in that universe, the cape billowing, um, he gets down on one knee to do the takeoff, and that amazing shot of sort of the gravity moving around him, and you start to see the little stones and pebbles raise up off the ground, and the takeoff, and that's when you get that soaring score, which is just great. I mean, like nothing's going to top Williams' score, let's be honest, but man, that score from Man of Steel is pretty bloody
It's
good.
it's really damn close.
It's
It's as
very
close as
close,
anyone
yeah.
could come. Yep.
Oh god, yeah. And yeah, and then obviously, just the fun of seeing, and again, like even at the step up from Superman Returns, like technology had advanced and everything, and I really did believe a man could fly in that scene. Like it's just so well shot, and Cavill's reactions to it, and the smiling and the laughing, and even he's learning. So he does the crash into the mountain and gets up and goes again, and it ends with those sonic booms, and it's pure Superman joy, which a lot of people would say in that version there wasn't a lot of. And I think that's he just looks so happy in that moment, and I've from the moment I saw that movie in the cinemas, I love that moment.
Excellent. Well, that was on my list.
Okay.
So, but again, I was going moments, not sequences.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment I chose is when the doors open and he's standing there, mostly in silhouette, and then he steps out, and we get our look at our new Superman.
Yep.
The whole sequence, A plus. I think it's one of the best sequences in the DCEU. I think it's top tier superhero movie moment, regardless. But for me, yeah, when the doors opened, I remember being in the theater opening night and cheering because I had been waiting so long for the reemergence of Superman on a big screen, and I think that moment really, really delivers. So, everything you said, agreed. Again, I think we have talked about it in the past, but his, his introduction and then the first flight that follows, amazing. But because you chose it, I'm going with my backup.
Okay.
Okay, going with the backup, and my backup is going to jump to the end. We'll stick with Man of Steel.
Okay.
We're going to go to the end of Man of Steel. And it's a moment, but it's really the Superman Zod fight. But the moment is the moment that was in the third trailer where my head almost exploded.
Yeah.
And I think it has become one of the most iconic Superman action beats committed to film. And it's when he is flying and punching Zod, and Zod flies forward, and then Superman flies forward again, punches him again, and then boom, boom, boom. That shot. That was how they punctuated that third trailer. And for people like me, fans like me, after Superman Returns, it was like, oh my God, they're going to finally let Superman fight. And it's going to be awesome. Like, that was what we were waiting for. And that shot was the promise of, oh no, this Superman actually can fight a bad guy.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And I remember when we had, oh my God, Damon Caro, who was the stunt coordinator for Zack Snyder when I had him on the show. And he talked about how they achieved that shot and how simple it was, which was they basically put the camera at Cavill's feet and pointed it up while he was standing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just did the punches, and then they added everything. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, that was it. But that shot has become so iconic that they reused it on the Supergirl show. I mean, yes, they replaced him with Supergirl, but they essentially took that shot, put it in Supergirl, and then tweaked it with CG to make it her. Mm-hmm. Then they did it again with one of the animated movies. I can't remember which one. So like they've reused that shot because it's so freaking cool. And yeah, I just think it's, as for Superman action, that shot, number one, I think, of any Superman movie.
And look, I can't argue with that. And you're so right. That moment, like that third trailer it's still one of the great trailers, let alone one of the great superhero trailers. Man, that was, talk about getting you pumped up. But yeah, it still blows my mind all these years later that, it was that moment in the trailer that had people going, yeah. And then it was that, scene in the movie that had everyone pissing and moaning. And it's just like, it's two superhuman beings fighting on Earth. Like, what do you want? Like, there's gonna be destruction. Like, get over it.
I still couldn't believe that people were mad about that because, oh my God, it's what I'd been waiting to see.
And that's the point. I've been watching, obviously, a lot of Superman lately, including a lot of like cartoon stuff, like, including the Fleischer stuff. It's in that. Like, buildings get destroyed in that show all the freaking time. Like, just anyway.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there, but I mean, you're right. But whatever. For me, that final fight, I think, is one of the best superhero fights committed to film, and that shot is the cherry on top of the sundae.
Well, my third moment, sticking with Man of Steel, and this is like the movie that I've got two moments from, and another big fight action scene, and it's my personal favorite from the movie, which is the Battle of Smallville.
Mm.
And this is the first time we get to see this Superman cut loose. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a prelude to what comes in that final fight, and I love it. Like, I love it how it's Superman fighting, sort of against / with the military, because they still don't know what to make of Superman, but he shows who he is in that scene as well. They, by the end of it, they know this man is not our enemy. And, that great shot of him catching the pilot falling from the sky is great. And my favorite moment of this scene, it's again, Superman punching Zod, but with you think you could kidnap my mother, or you think you could hurt my mother, whatever he says, is so good. him defending Martha, and I adore it. And again, there's a lot of destruction, but and I love seeing the other Kryptonians fighting and then adapting to Earth's atmosphere and what it does to them. And yeah, it's great. And then how it's intercut as well with, Lois and Russell Crowe fight, back and forth, like
Mhm.
her escaping. And so it's, yeah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. That whole sequence is terrific. But yes, for me, the highlight is, and again, I think I cheered in the theater was, yeah, you think you can threaten my mother?
That's it. Threaten my
That's
mother. Yeah.
so damn good. So yeah, that whole sequence is terrific. And again, that's really the sequence where you're like, okay, this Superman, and for me, I was all for it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right, cool. Let's stick with the DCEU then.
Mm-hmm.
And for my next choice is Superman entering the final battle in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I considered this one.
The where he gets there just in time and Steppenwolf's axe hits him on the shoulder and he just says not impressed and he freezes the axe and shatters it. A great entrance for the finale of that movie. Love it. The whole movie is leading up to Superman showing back up, and I think that it. I'm big into entrances anyway, but it's a
Yes, you are.
terrific, awesome, badass entrance for Superman in that big, exciting finale. And yeah, just the nonchalance of Henry Cavill Superman in that moment, I just think is awesome. And it
Mhm.
was like, it would have been a big crowd pleasing moment in the theater had we gotten it in the theater.
Yes,
We did not, but regardless, it's awesome nonetheless.
very true. And like I said, I strongly considered it. I know Aaron has this on his list. Yeah, it is a great moment. And I mean, hell, I was cheering in my living room
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
it.
it was
It's
awesome.
so good.
Yeah, I think the one in the theatrical was okay, but this was better,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
this was absolutely better. Was the theatrical? I know a thing about justice or
It was,
something. Or
it was some. I'm a big fan of, or something about like Steppenwolf says something about you all will learn the truth, and you hear Superman say truth. I'm also a big fan of justice, and then he hits him,
yeah,
which is
that's right.
still not bad. I don't mind
It's
it.
a bit on the nose, but it's not terrible.
Well, that's what they were going for at that point.
That's true. Yeah.
um, but yeah, it was all right. This is better. Not impressed.
Absolutely. Man, we're getting through this list really quick. My fourth moment, pardon me, or scene is I'll preface this too. I've just rewatched all four Christopher Reeve movies. One and two I know very well, but three and four I haven't watched in almost 20 years. And I mean, we talked about it last episode. We're going to have an episode coming up, ranking the Superman movies. So that's not a secret. But I really needed to revisit.
If we can get you and Jamie together, which
Yeah.
continues to evade us, but we'll see.
um, I really needed to watch three and four again because just to make sure I had them where I thought they deserved to be. And one thing that surprised me because I watched them all within a week of each other, and my favorite Christopher Reeve moment slash scene is surprisingly from Superman 3. And when I say that, it's not going to surprise anyone what it is. It's the junkyard fight between evil Superman and, for the most part, Clark. It's Christopher Reeve playing off Christopher Reeve, and he's one of the few people in that third movie who really showed up to work and brought their A game. And I think it's one of his best moments in all. Well, I do. That's why I've got it. I think it's his best moment in those four films, and it happens to be from the worst of the four. But he's so good in that scene, and it's a really great for the time. It's a really great action scene. I have a feeling you'll be choosing maybe a scene or a moment from Superman 2 that's similar, but I found myself really just enthralled by this scene in this movie. And because I hadn't watched it for so long, I'd forgotten how damn good it is. And it was the first time, we'd seen that kind of fight to my knowledge in a movie where it's the same person going up against the other person. And for the time for that movie with that budget, they do a friggin' good job. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was like, you know what? Of all the scenes that are in the two movies prior to that, I had to go with this one. And it's all because of Reeve and the way he acts against himself. It's so damn good.
Huh. Fascinating. Well, I can agree it's the best scene in the movie. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a cool sequence. So yeah, all right.
There's a lot in those four movies that don't make any sense, but you just got to go with it.
That's true. But yeah, I just rewatched it myself, and it's the best part of the movie for sure. And yeah, I mean, you're right. Christopher Reeve is the one who comes out of that movie unscathed.
Mm.
So yeah, he's the one who's, well, and I'd say Ned O'Toole as well, but he's doing a great job. He's just in that movie, and there's only so much heavy lifting he can do, even if he's Superman. But you think that's better than anything in Superman the movie and Superman 2?
I think Reeve is what elevated it for me. The fact that he's not, look, the fight in Superman 2 against Zod and Non and Ursa is great, but he's with, three other great actors and the support, all the extras and stuff that yeah, that's a brilliant moment. And I was tempted to put that one in there, but after watching 3, I'm like, it's just Reeve. It's just him, and he makes it so enjoyable. And I picked it as a testament to him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, then let's talk about Superman 2, because that's what my next choice is. And again, I really went with moments. I didn't go with scenes. I didn't go with sequences. Like the Smallville fight is not a moment. That's like a 15-minute stretch of the movie. But for Superman 2, the moment that I chose is Superman's reemergence for the big fight. When he comes in and he flies up to the window at the Daily Planet and he says, "General, would you like to step outside?" That is a hell yeah Superman moment. I love it. It's such a great, and then it sets up, I think, if we were doing sequences, I think one of the best sequences in any Superman movie. But yeah, the moment of him coming back where all hope is lost, everybody is given in to Zod, Ursa, and Non, and they think Superman's not coming, and then he flies up to that window. Awesome. And yeah, it's just Christopher Reeve being a perfect Superman, and it's a badass moment, which then leads to, I think, one of the best superhero fights ever committed to film as well.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking watching it, and I meant to put this in the group chat the other night and forgot. I would love for a future Halloween for you to be Zod, Harley to be Ursa, and Andy Jr. to be Non. I would love to see that.
Catherine Superman?
Catherine could be Lois. Or she could be Superman, whatever. But I just, the idea of that tickled me. Particularly seeing like baby Andy as Non. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be really adorable. So yes, if I were going to pick a sequence, I'd pick that whole Metropolis fight. But the moment of Superman coming back, I think is so good.
Yeah. No, great.
All right. Which I guess gets us to our last choices. You're right. We just kind of blazed right through this, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
This is my TV moment. And yeah, this is where I was tossing up between this and another moment from Superman Returns. So I would just give an honorable mention. And this one is a moment in Superman Returns, and it's the other one that everyone goes on about, but I just adore it. And it's the bullet in the eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is great. Like just even the moment leading up to it with that guy in that huge chain gun just unleashing on the cops and then turning around and unleashing on Superman, and just, and the punctuation mark to that scene with the bullet hitting the ground, and then you just see Superman look up, and that shot of just his eyes and the curl is perfect, and I love it. But that would have been my fifth moment had it not
And
been.
that one crossed my mind. Let's just
Yeah.
pause. That one did cross my mind. Did you ever notice that scene comes out of nowhere and ends out of nowhere?
Yeah.
It's because it was a reshoot.
That makes sense.
Do you know why?
Because there wasn't enough action in the movie.
Because test screenings were like, Superman gonna like stop anything? And so
Yeah.
they did that weird. It's such a cool sequence, but like it is apropos of nothing. It's just jammed in there.
Yeah. But hey, it works.
No, it's a cool moment.
Moment.
It's a super cool moment. I distinctly remember, we have time. I distinctly remember like the trailers for Superman Returns coming out, and like this was in the Ain't It Cool news days. I would read the comments on Ain't It Cool, and they'd be like, "Is there going to be any action in this movie? Is there going to be a money shot?" Like, and then finally they put that eyeball thing in the trailer, and they're like, "Well, finally, there's something cool." So it was just, we should have known going in.
Yeah, it's frustrating, that movie, and like I said, I've just watched it, and there's still part of me that's just like, you know what, for maybe 3/4 of it, I'm there. I'm like, I'm really enjoying this. I mean, yeah, that it's a bit slow and but that's the story they've chosen to tell, and okay, but yeah, it's like we've said many, many times in this show, and we will again, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks. It's such a conundrum, because some of the stuff that they give us I really like, and then some of it, yeah, like it's just kind of boring. And
Yeah, I truly believe their heart was in the right place, like, and it was another one of those, like many movies we talked about, where it had everything it needed to be a success. It had the right talent at the right time. It should have worked. And it's even more frustrating that it didn't.
And I mean, look, obviously the ick of Bryan Singer aside, like if you ever watched the documentary of the making of that movie, and with him and the two writers and stuff, their hearts were absolutely in the right place.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They wanted to make the best Superman movie, and a love letter to the first one and the Reeve films, and I think that's the double-edged sword, is setting a movie that's meant to be, I was messaging this to Aaron the other night watching it. It's meant to be 5 years removed from the first one or the second one. And, it's those two movies, the first and second, they're such a time capsule of, I mean, essentially the late 70s, because they were shot at the same time. So, not even the late 80s. It's set in the 70s, and then it's meant to be 5 years, and it's very much 2006. Like, there's cell phones and technology, and like it's what makes that movie good, but also the downfall is it was a sequel. It should have been a reboot. And
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry for the tangent, but also again, I'm like, hey,
we've got time.
we got time. It's fine. And yeah, it is one of those frustrating ones where it's like, I know they meant well, and it's like, and it's well made. It's a well made.
It's beautifully shot too.
Didn't work, and it just certainly wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what a lot of people wanted, and it's a bummer that it just didn't come together. But anyway, you didn't pick the eyeball, even though now you kind of did.
I wanted to give it an honorable mention. Like you said, if we didn't have time, I wouldn't have mentioned it, but we've got time.
But yeah, we're doing good. So instead, you picked something from television.
I did, and it's from this year. And
shit!
This is a moment. This is a true moment.
Okay.
And it is literally a moment that, speaking of movies that weren't giving us what we wanted, it was a moment that gave us everything we've ever wanted from Superman in live action. And it was on a CW show with a reduced budget. And that is the punch that Superman does that knocks Lex out of his power suit. And it is phenomenal. Talk about cheering. I was sitting on my bed with Jess watching it, and I literally like, because we laying down and watching it, I literally sat up, punched the air, and said, "F yes!" That was brilliant. And until I could be proven wrong, and I hope that I am in a bit over a month's time. That is everything any of us have ever wanted from live action Superman, and it did it better than 40 odd years worth of cinema leading up to that moment. What,
Yeah.
6, 7 movies, 3 actors, so many directors, decades, and the CW pulled it off. And
Yeah.
like you said, that 4th season had reduced budget, reduced casting, and I mean, you did a whole episode on the finale, but that specific moment is everything we've ever wanted, and they did it so well. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that choice. It was unexpected, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, and that's
Not
why I
even
had
mad
to
at
ask
that.
about TV, because I was just like, if we're talking top 5 Superman, like, for me, that's got to be in there.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's amazing, especially in that final season, what that show was able to accomplish on a CW budget.
Mm-hmm. On a
Like,
reduced CW budget.
yeah, like Superman and Doomsday was amazing, and then yeah, Superman and Lex in the end, so good, and it was cinematic, like so impressive.
Yep. And
I really
we
thought you
got
were
to
gonna
see
do
Lex in
fucking
the
Lex.
power suit, and then
Yeah.
to see Superman like do that like almost supersonic punch and knock him out of it. It's just it's more than I would have. I mean, just the fact that we had Lex and Superman in the power suit fighting,
Mhm.
brilliant. Everything we ever wanted. But that to punctuate it with that punch, that
Mhm.
gave me something that was better than I thought I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Oh Christ, it was good.
Yeah. Nope, it's a good choice. I'll allow it. That's fair. Well, cool. Yeah. Remember when they teased us and they were like, "We just need to get you in a killer suit,"
Yep.
and then the next episode he was in like a nice designer suit, and we are like, "Don't you play with us? We have been toyed with for too long." And
Literally
then
toyed with, particularly with BVS.
yeah, and then now again for Superman.
Mm-hmm. But I
And
don't know. I have a feeling in this one.
we shall see. All I say is there better be a goddamn Yeti.
And a green baby alien as well for some reason.
The toys are all over the place. It'll be so interesting.
They're drip feeding out over here, which is good. It's starting to get exciting. I saw some in the wild for the first time the other day.
I did a little Superman toy hunt the other day as well, and
You bought
came
stuff.
home with I came home with the Fortress of Solitude with the Yeti, and I'm really into it.
You regret nothing.
I regret nothing. And I was like, oh, should I open this with Harley so we can play with it together? And I was like, no, this one's just for me.
Yeah.
If she was a year or two older, I'd be like, yes, like, this is ours. But I feel like she still needs a little time.
Like, I'm not sure what the scale is of, like, the I just call them the big figs, like the like the ones that are in those little narrow rectangular boxes. Like I got the Keaton one from the Flash 2 years ago, and I was holding him in my hands, and I'm just like, I didn't end up getting him because I'm just like, oh, his face is a little bit weird looking, but there was part of me that was just like, I could kid myself and say I'm getting this for Henry, but I'd really be getting it for myself. And I was just like, actually, you know what? I'm just going to be a good boy. I'm going to wait for the McFarlane figure so I can get Superman and Crypto in one hit. And I will end up getting Henry, the big one, because he can play with his big Batman with it. So.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I see a stuffed Crypto, Harley's getting that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
But this one, like, because the Yeti is so big, Superman and Ultraman are actually quite small.
Yes.
Which is cool because then the scale is all right, and I actually dig it. But I was like, they're just a little small, and she doesn't like eat it, but it's just not quite the right scale for her yet.
There's got to be a stuffed Crypto coming out. Sure,
there's got to be. Or the little people.
Yet,
You seen like the Fisher Price little people? I feel like if they do a Superman set of that, she'll have that because I buy her all those. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Yeah.
toys, fun.
Another tangent. What's your number
Sorry.
5?
What is my number 5? My number 5 is back to Superman the movie. I'm bookending it. And again, I went with moment, but if we're doing whole sequences, the sequence is, of course, the helicopter sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first action scene with Superman in that movie, a terrific introduction to him and Lois's back and forth is iconic. Him saving her saying, "You got me, who's got you?" Like, it's iconic Superman moment, no matter how you look at it. Love that sequence. I watched it with Harley the other day. She loved it. But the moment I picked was after he saves her. He's got her back up on the roof of the Daily Planet. He's got the helicopter up there. Everyone's safe. And he says that line, which gets repeated in Superman Returns about, I hope this doesn't put you off flying. Statistically, it's the most, the safest way to travel.
Mm-hmm.
It's then he takes off. And when he takes off, Superman's flying never looks better than that moment. Because he doesn't just take off, he takes off, spins, and then flies at an angle, and it looks so damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I watch it, I'm like, holy shit, did they nail that? It's amazing to me how good that flying looks. I mean, the whole sequence, amazing, historic, cinema history, love it. Mm-hmm. But the punctuation of him flying away at the end, it's so good. Just go back, just watch him fly away. It looks so good in 2025.
Oh, look, I'm not going to argue with that part, but I mean, you are wrong. The moment from that scene is the damn Jim, that's a bad outfit. Woo!
Yes,
that's the moment.
Also that. That is Jamie's moment if he were here. He loves that moment. I appreciate it for what it is. But no, I remember going to see Superman the movie and Superman 2 in a double feature on the big screen. At this point now, 10 years ago, maybe more. Cool. So fun. And when that happened on the big screen, I was like, holy shit, that looks good. I mean, Richard Donner, the tagline was, "You will believe a man can fly." And Richard Donner was like, we've got to make the flying work. No matter what we do, we've got to make the flying work. And now, what's it been? 40 years, 45 years?
About that.
Some of it doesn't hold up as well. Yeah.
No.
Because we're going to, yeah, but some of it holds up amazingly, and that is the prime example.
Well, him flying out of the fortress when we first see him in costume. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this, the stuff that is for back, clearly green screen or back then blue screen, for back then, the technology is phenomenal and it does, it doesn't hold up, but for back then it looks great. But you're right, there are moments of flight in that movie where it's real, it looks absolutely real for sure.
What's amazing to me is that as that franchise progressed, the flying looked worse in every subsequent movie.
It did, yes.
It looks the best in the first. And then it looks good in 2, but there's some moments. And then in 3, it looks even worse. And then in 4, it looks terrible. And I'm like,
with the Blu-ray in 4, you can see the outline of the blue screen.
I was
like,
shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't they get better at this, not worse?
Yeah.
But they just got lazier. And again, Richard Donner, that was such a big thing for him, is no, the flying, people have to buy it. And so they worked so hard on it, and it shows.
Yeah. It does.
So I just think that's awesome.
Because we've no pun intended flown through this. Something I've been thinking about the last week, and I've seen it 5 times in the last week, is the climactic shot that they use in those original 4/5, if you count Returns films. And the one, Superman flying past the Earth and then doubles back around and flies towards the camera, breaks the fourth wall and smiles, takes off, credits. Look, that should have been one of my moments, to be honest. I just didn't even think of it at the time.
I considered it because it's so simple, but it always leaves you feeling good.
Yeah. And like they kind of did a moment-ish in Man of Steel that was similar, without copying it. But watching it 5 times in this last week and seeing the tone of the movie we're about to get and the fact that they're not straying away from, you know, elements from these original films like the score and that kind of stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if that is reborn as the climactic shot of this, or something very, very, very similar. Wouldn't
I
be
wouldn't
surprised
either.
if we see
I
it
wouldn't
again.
either. Yeah. I mean, James Gunn has said how much he loves Superman the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it all over the trailers for this new movie.
Yeah.
No, I mean not aping it the way Superman Returns did, but you can certainly see the influence. So you're right. I would not at all be shocked if we didn't get that final shot.
Yeah. I'm glad, yeah, because I was going to put it in the group, and I'm like, no, I'm sure at some point we'll be talking about it on the podcast, and I wanted to save it, but yeah, I don't know, quietly confident. Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if he didn't, because you know, but I kind of love it at the same
Yeah,
time.
I'm all for it. I think it's great. I distinctly remember my grandma Ruth taking me to see Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever. And I think it was after Batman Returns where she was like, "Ah, you know what? You just don't get that. You don't get that feeling like at the end of a Superman movie. You know, at the end of a Superman movie when he smiles and you just walk out feeling like he's a hero. You don't get that with Batman." And I just remember her saying that, and
No,
I was
you
like,
don't.
"See, that Christopher Reeve smile, man, made all the difference."
I mean, I can remember in the lead up to Superman Returns, me and my mate James, who I've talked about in here multiple times, like we were saying in the lead up to that movie, like they're gonna do the flyby, they got to do the flyby. Surely they got to do the flyby. And at the end of the movie, I think we even high fived each other. We were like, "Did the flyby!" Like it was great. And it's still, you know, for a very boring third act, it still ends on that heroic moment of like, "Oh hell yeah!" It's
Yeah,
because of that.
yeah. Well, and again, not to go down that road, but I will say for you know for all the things that didn't work for me, I still when it was over, I was still like, I'll show up to the next one opening night.
Yeah.
I was really on board for them to continue. Um, hoping that for the next one they kicked it up a notch, but yeah, was not meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Something else, neither here nor there, but talking about the flying in Superman the movie, especially the flight with Superman and Lois, they fly by the Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take that scene and I want to compare it to the scene in Santa Claus the movie. And I want to see if the Salkins just reuse the same footage because I would not put it past them.
No, that wouldn't surprise me at all, actually.
That sounds just like them, but I haven't had a chance to do that. But when they were doing that, I was like, I wonder because it wasn't there were only, it was what 7 years between. They could have just used the same footage. I don't know. It was something that crossed my mind. Only you
See,
would appreciate it.
and that's something that kind of bugs me about those movies is they don't like it's New York and they don't even try and hide the fact that it's New York.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Kind of bugs me a bit. Like
I always get annoyed when Metropolis has the Statue of Liberty and
yeah,
when Gotham has the Statue of Liberty. I don't
yeah,
want either of them to have the Statue of Liberty.
yeah. I mean, at
And
least in
and
Forever
they
they
both
call
have.
it Lady Gotham, but it's the same statue.
No.
Like, why not have something else?
Yeah, I don't like it when they do it.
But yeah, that's always kind of bug. Like the Twin Towers, and it's like, come on, guys. I mean,
Yep.
you can
Yep.
shoot a city and it have that feel, and it. I mean, Superman Returns, for example, like it feels like Metropolis, and it doesn't. There's only one shot, to be honest, where it feels like it was shot in an Australian city. It doesn't feel like Sydney.
Mhm.
It's like the
Yep.
Power Rangers movie, how it's Angel Grove and the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House is in the background. It's like, oh, come on, guys.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I I was literally just thinking about that movie and I was like, I need to revisit it because I watched it once. It was all right.
I rewatched it before the 2017 relaunch occurred, which I still think was a pretty damn good movie. Actually, it's a shame it didn't get a sequel. Yeah, and I rewatched the '95 Power Rangers movie, and yeah, I'd only seen it once as a kid, and I'd completely forgotten. And it's so cringy. It's them like rollerblading around. It's so mid '90s, but it's like, guys, you've got like Centerpoint Tower and the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. It's like, it's Sydney. Like, you're not even trying to pretend this is Angel Grove.
I saw that in the theater, and I have not seen it since. But now you make me want to.
It's not good.
I mean, no, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. There are at least 10 great Superman moments. Probably more like 12 or 13. I feel like we got in there.
And we didn't cross over. Well, we kind of did, but I genuinely thought there'd be at least, one or two more.
The only true crossover was the Superman reveal in Man of Steel, which led to the first fight. That was the true crossover, and then I used a backup, which is him punching Zod across the sky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but again, like I could have picked a lot of different things from a lot of different movies. And so I tried to spread the love, and I'm happy with the ones I chose, but that doesn't mean there aren't tons of other great Superman moments we could have talked about.
Yeah, very true. And hopefully in just over a month, we'll be able to add a shitload more to that list.
That would be great. Well, I will say one that came to mind that almost made my list, Superman Returns. I think it's my favorite scene in Superman Returns is when he flies up and he's listening to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's such a great idea and a great moment for Superman. So I think that's like a cool thing of where he's like, I hear it nonstop. Anyway, whatever. So some great Superman moments to celebrate today. I've been having fun going through the movies. Seems like you have been too. I'm a little behind you. I still need to watch 4.
Yeah.
And Returns.
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of know where my list is. But again, I hadn't seen those movies in so damn long. And, of almost 20 years of internet scuttlebutt about the two of them. Yeah, like, I'll say it. I mean, I ended up enjoying 3 a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I knew all this of it being unwatchable and stuff, and like, it's not great, but it never gets there. Like, it's not a great Superman movie, but it's not. I've watched a lot worse films than that.
It's watchable. It's insane, but it's watchable.
Yeah.
Some of it's very funny intentionally. Some of it is very funny unintentionally.
Correct.
Some of it's not funny at all.
And trying to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll find time where you and Jamie are both available and we can actually rank the films.
Yeah.
Although it's not nearly as like dramatic as the Batman ones, because I feel like with Superman, most people tend to agree on which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones.
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be many hot takes in that, but oh well, it'll be fun regardless, and we'll hopefully get around to that soon. But we want to talk about Batman.
We do.
So we're sticking with it. We're getting so close to the end of season 3 of the Batman. So I'm feeling really accomplished. So here we go. Let's talk about the next episode from the Batman. All right, and the episode we watched is Thunder. This one aired February 18th of 2006. It was directed by Christopher Berkeley and written by Paul Giacapo? Yeah, sure, Giacapo. So, there's a mayoral race in Gotham City. So that means we get to hear the wonderful voice of Adam West. Makes me happy. But it turns out that the mayor, who is voiced by Adam West, I forget his name. Mayor Grange. He was running against Maximilian Zeus. So Maxie Zeus enters the Batman universe. And seems like Maxie Zeus was going to give him a run for his money, but then he was a little too crazy and people were like, never mind. So he loses the election and he's none too happy. So he's going to take it out on Gotham, and he has built himself a helicarrier where he can look from above, and he destroys the city hall, and he is going to destroy Gotham. So Batman and Batgirl jump into action to stop Maxie Zeus, but they're not on the same page. Batgirl's kind of doing her own thing because she never hears from Batman. She doesn't know what's going on. She wants to be in the loop, but Batman is like, no, I work alone. And so Batgirl stows aboard the helicarrier, and Batman goes and introduces us to the new version of the Batwing. And so they both come at the helicarrier from different sides. The Batwing ends up getting taken out, but Batman ends up on the helicarrier, and so they have to take out Maxie Zeus. So Batgirl is she's not booby trapping. She's
sort of dismantling.
Yeah, she's causing problems with the helicarrier so that way Zeus can't attack and destroy things. Sabotaging, that's the word I was going for, sabotaging. And then Batman's taking on Maxie Zeus himself. And so between the two of them, they do stop the big plot, and Batman is like, I gotta get the Batwing fixed. And Alfred's like, yeah, thank goodness the Batgirl worked. And so Batman's like, maybe I'm not giving her enough credit. And so he brings her into the fold in a more official way, gives her a care package with some tech and a way to stay in touch and the Batwave. And now it seems like Batgirl, instead of working a little bit on her own, she's a little more accepted as an official sidekick to the Batman.
Yeah.
And that is Thunder. So what'd you think?
When I saw this was a Zeus episode, I audibly was like, "Ugh," because I couldn't give less of a shit about Maxie Zeus if I tried. I've never liked the character. Like, I know he was created as a comic counterpart, to King Tut from the '60s show, because I don't think they could use King Tut in the comics for some reason. But I've just never liked the villain and the whole, again, being the version of King Tut, how he sort of is kind of mentally disturbed, has the split personality and goes in and out of being Maxie and being, quote unquote normal. And I couldn't remember this episode. I haven't watched these for many years. But you know what? I actually really enjoyed it. I really actually quite liked this version of Zeus, how he's like, he's not that, knock on the head, split personality. He's just crazy. He's a megalomaniac. And, the helicarrier, how it was called New Olympus, I thought that was really cool. And I liked how that was sort of tagged at the end where it crash lands and how Batman's like, New Olympus is about to become the new Atlantis. I thought that was cool. I really liked the story development and character development with Batgirl and Batman in this. How, he's used Batgirl for essentially this whole season, and she's helped him, and he's got her to do things for him. And it's true, like, he hadn't kept her in the loop. And I loved how she called him out on that publicly, in front of the villains and stuff. Like, she was being vague, but she was also being very, very direct, if you're in the know, which Batman was. And I thought that was a great moment for her to just essentially be like, dude, what the hell? Like, I'm the one saving the day here. Like, you couldn't have done this without me. It wouldn't kill you to keep me in the loop. Like, we can actually help each other. And I've proven that time and time again. I really dug Batman's, what do you call it? Sort of like a flight suit that he wears for when he's flying the Batwing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Like, obviously, I'm guaranteed there was probably an action figure of it, but it wasn't too bright and gaudy. It worked for what it was. I thought it was really, really rad. So it was, like a really good episode for action, a really good episode for character development. It pushed the overall story forward, and for them to take a villain who I've never liked in any version, because he was in BTAS as well, and I didn't like him in that either. And to deliver a pretty damn good version of it, I was pleasantly surprised with this episode. I genuinely really, really enjoyed it.
Nice. We are, as usual, very much on the same page. I was like, oh, Maxie Zeus. Oh, I am also not a fan. Never has worked for me, and I think that there's a reason he has never risen above his C-list side,
Yeah.
because I don't think anyone particularly likes Maxie Zeus. He's not a very popular Batman villain. So I was like, oh. But that aside, I thought they did a really nice job of reinventing him. I think because, this show will often reinvent characters that don't need it, but this is a character where the reinvention, I think, helps the character. And I really liked what they did with him.
Mm-hmm.
In BTAS, he was kind of at the top of a giant skyscraper that he had turned into Mount Olympus. So doing a helicarrier, I was like, oh, that's actually, I think, a clever way to make that Mount Olympus. I thought that was neat. I liked his look. I liked his design. I thought he was pretty cool. And then, yeah, I appreciated that the entire episode was trying to get this helicarrier down and sneaking around on it. And I liked the Batgirl Batman dynamic. I think it was fun. My biggest complaint is I
Phil
loved
Lamar
this.
voiced Zeus as well, which is worth pointing out.
Which I was surprised. Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Because
yeah.
he sort of sounds, because I'm like, it sounds like someone doing an Ian McKellen impression. I'm like, who is that? And I was like, holy shit, it's Phil Lamar. Okay. Interesting choice.
I thought it was going to be Clancy Brown, and maybe it's because we just talked about him recently and he was on, he was front of mind, but I swear he sounded like Clancy Brown at the beginning. And then when I saw Phil Lamar, I was like, nope, would have never guessed that in 100 years.
No.
But yeah, I think that, my one knock is that I love this as an excuse to introduce the Batwing. I just didn't like the look of the Batwing at all. I thought it was a pretty ugly design.
Like from the side, I get what they were going for. Like it kind of does look like, you see the shots of like a bat in flight and how its wings sort of pull back and stuff. Like I can get that from a side view, but it's a bit bulbous and weird.
Yeah, that's just it. It was weirdly bulbous. Yeah, the wings are like big and round, and it almost looks more like it belongs in the snow than it does flying.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like it just to me did not look like a flying vehicle. So I loved it. I was like, oh, cool. Like they're going to introduce this world's version of the Batwing. And then I saw it. I was like, oh, I'm not into it, but that's all right.
And then similar to the movies, it doesn't last very long either.
No, it doesn't. So it gives them a chance to reinvent it. But I just remember like maybe it was last season when they introduced their version of the Bat boat. I thought that was like really cool. I really liked what they did with that. So I don't know. Maybe they get another crack at it and we get a better version sometime in the future. But
remember
this one, But aside from that, I thought it was a surprisingly good episode, especially featuring Maxie Zeus, and I enjoyed it. So like you, it was a nice surprise because once I realized what it was going to be, I was a little like, oh no. And then it all turned out okay.
Yeah.
So a letter grade for Thunder.
Can't believe I'm saying this, given my thoughts when I first saw what it was, but I'm going A-.
Oh, I'm going B+. So, all right. Well, next one up is The Icy Depth. So only 2 more episodes to finish up season 3. Can you believe it?
Nice. I can't wait for season 4. It's my favorites.
Cool. Great. Then we got to get to it. We got to stick to it. All right. Well, there you go. Another animated episode of The Batman. But before we check in with you folks, here is another friendly reminder about something very cool Batman coming to your podcast feeds.
DC High Volume Batman. The Dark Knight's definitive DC Comics stories. Adapted directly for audio for the very first time.
Fear. I have to make them afraid.
He's got a motorcycle. Get after him or I'll have you shot.
What do you mean blow up the building?
From this moment on, none of you are safe.
New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
And now it's time to check in with you fine feathered finks and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren. What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger.
This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, got an email here from Ian. It says, "Hey, Andy and company. This has probably been asked before in some way, shape, or form, but here goes anyway. My daughter turns 2 at the end of June, and I've been trying to sneak in as much Batman content in front of her as I can. I was wondering if you had any shows, toys, books, etc. that you remember really keeping your daughter's interest at that age. So far, I got her to do a grumbly Bale Batman voice, and she's digging her Batman the Animated Series coloring book, but I'm on the lookout for birthday gifts. Thanks again for the podcast and all that you do, Ian." Thank you, Ian, and I love this question, and I got answers. So I'm gonna let Brendan go first because yes, we are both in the thick of it.
I mean, look, I think the answer that we're both going to give, and I would just say, like, put a rush on it, get her in front of it ASAP, and that's Bat Wheels.
Bat Wheels, yes.
Absolutely. Before Bat Wheels came along and Henry was around 2.5, I was showing him the 60s episodes, and he was enjoying it well enough. But then Bat Wheels came along, and it's just knocked everything else out of the water. Like, he still watches it almost daily. Toys, I don't know what it's like over there, but they're few and far between over here now. Like, it feels like, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, you could go and get most of them here in Australia, but they're very, very few and far between at the moment. And I still think they sort of shit the bed with the Batwheels toys, because the toys they did release were great, but you still can't get like a full Legion of Zoom, for example.
Yeah.
Henry would love to have a Snowy. He loves that character, but I've never seen a Snowy toy at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you were saying the other day, like a Batcave playset would be great. Little action figures of the human characters would absolutely be a hit, and they've just never done it, sadly. But the toys, like, they do have a great, and they're great for that age group. And I mean, it's a preschool show. It's tailor made for kids of that age. And yeah, I mean, you could try Brave and the Bold, which is obviously a really kiddie cartoon, and Batman the Animated Series, which is a bit darker. But Batwheels, man, like that's all you need to do is put her in front of Batwheels.
Yeah. Well, Harley's coming up on 3.5. And she loves Batwheels, so everything that Brendan said, absolutely. I just showed her Brave and the Bold the other day for the first time. She loved it. She also loves Lego Batman. In fact, tonight she was awake when I had to record, so I went and put her in my bed and turned on Lego Batman. So that's what she's watching tonight. So all those are good options of things to watch. Toys, I mentioned earlier, the Fisher-Price Little People. They're adorable. There are DC sets that are so cool. There's a Batcave. There's Batmobiles. She has all of those. She loves them. The Little Golden Books, they have a bunch of Super Friends Batman versions of the Little Golden Books. What I love about those is they're $4 or $5, and they're awesome. They're so cute. Those are great. You can read those to her at night. So yeah, it's like the answer is hit her from all sides.
Yeah, cover all your bases. And big shout out too for the Little People, because Henry's got a bunch of those too, actually, thanks to Uncle Jamie. That was Henry's first Christmas he sent over, like the Little People Batcave.
Yep.
And yeah, he still plays with those, again, like almost daily, at least several times a week. So yeah, I forgot about that, but
yeah, Harley loves them.
shout.
She loves the Little People, and yeah, she's got 2 Bat Caves. And like, yeah, Batmobile and all that. So yeah, it's the toys, it's the books. You mentioned a coloring book. That's a great call. Put on the more kid-friendly versions of Batman with her around, and she'll get sucked in. But yeah, Batwheels is the best place to start, and then all that other stuff, it all works too.
Yeah. 100%.
She has a big Batman bath toy that she plays with too. So, it's so fun watching her get into it. I mean, tonight when I put her in bed and I was like, okay, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch Sleeping Beauty? Do you want to watch Peter Pan? Like I was offering Disney, and she went, I want Batman. And I was like, okay, all right. I mean, she watched the Batman with me this morning before this episode. So.
Yeah, so did Henry.
Yeah.
And actually, he was watching an episode of of the Batman when we started recording as well. He wanted to watch an episode. I put on RPM for him because he hadn't seen it, and he loves cars. So
Well, cool.
Shit episode, but he loved it.
All right. Next email is from Weston Craig. It says, "Hey guys, I recently watched a documentary on the Tylenol murders. The Tylenol murders in Chicago that happened in 1982. Are you familiar with this? Someone had taken random containers throughout the city and switched out the contents with cyanide. There were several news announcements broadcast to Chicago to stop taking Tylenol. Do you think that the parallels to Joker's plan with Smilex and Batman is coincidence, or do you think Sam Hamm could have taken inspiration from real world events? Thanks, Weston." Oh, wow. I'm from Chicago. This sounds vaguely familiar. Obviously, I was very, very, very young in 1982, so I don't remember it, but this sounds kind of familiar. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Brendan?
Oh, I mean, it could be.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we can't say for sure, but yeah, I mean, that would make sense, I guess.
yeah, it's certainly possible. I've never heard him talk about it, but I can see the parallels. So could be coincidence, or maybe he heard about it at some point.
Yeah, I am just quickly making a note because I do like some of those the Netflix crime docos, so I'm gonna watch that because that sounds
Don't we all?
interesting.
All right, next email is from Ren. It says, "Hey, Bat Brothers, hope all is well. The Lois and Clark episode was a super dose of nostalgia, as I remember watching it with my siblings when we were young. Having grown up with the Reeve films, it was exciting to see a new take on Superman, especially when the actor portraying him was of Asian heritage. Being Asian myself, we didn't have many superheroes, even though we always considered Bruce Lee to be one. So, while I don't agree with his views now, it was empowering to see an Asian person portray the Man of Steel, and I take solace in the idea that many other people saw it too. On to my questions. With the many iterations of Superman came some awesome Superman theme songs. What would be your top 5 Superman themes, live action or animated, that's not Williams's, since most consider that to be the best? Also, if Gunn and Company do eventually make a Nightwing film, what arc would you want the filmmakers to pull from? Thank you as always for the incredible work and keep shining the bat signal bright. All the best, Ren." Thanks, Ren. Yeah, I meant to even bring that up in Lois and Clark in the fact that I did think it was interesting that Dean Cain, is he half Asian? I can't remember his full heritage.
I want to say like half
Or a quarter. Yeah. I can't remember. But yes, the fact that he was a little more ethnic looking, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but just, just that he wasn't completely like white bread.
Because he was never involved with his birth father. And that's where it comes from.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, like the fact that Superman had some Asian in him, which was different. And good for them.
I will just say quickly on the Lois and Clark thing. And I meant to message you a couple of times during the week and just forgot. But I was during the week just sort of thinking back, and plus I have now started to watch a bit more Lois and Clark. Like I think I'm up to episode 6 now from memory. Man, that was fun. That was just a really fun episode to record. Like, I just felt good about it all week. I don't know about you, but I had a ball recording that last week, man. I just wanted to shout it out. It was a really good time.
All right, good. He is 3/8 Japanese.
There you go.
3/8 Japanese, but also English, French, Canadian, Irish, and Welsh. So 3/8 Japanese and then white.
Yeah.
We'll just say that.
Very, very white at the moment.
Anyway, so Superman themes, but not John Williams because it's too easy. Here's the thing, and I think I said this in the past, is like most Superman themes, even if they're not John Williams, they feel like a version of John Williams.
Yeah.
Like the Lois and Clark theme is very much inspired by John Williams. The Superman the Animated Series theme, very much inspired by John Williams. The Lois and Clark theme, no, the Superman and Lois theme. God, Lois and Clark, Superman and Lois. Superman and Lois theme, very much. Like, so it's just funny because almost all of them at least have a similar sound to the Williams theme.
Yeah.
But as we said earlier, I think number 2 is the Hans Zimmer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It has to be. And then for me, I guess Lois and Clark, Superman the Animated Series, I mean, look, it predates Williams, but the Fleischer theme is actually really cool too.
I have to rewatch those because I don't know them well enough to know it off the top of my head. But
Yeah, it's interesting. I got to the part yesterday where clearly it's after Pearl Harbor, and it starts getting
does it get weird?
very very racist towards the Japanese. Speaking of Japanese,
Speaking of Japanese,
yeah. Historically, very, very interesting, but also woof by today's standards. Wow. Yeah, I mean they're the ones I'd sort of throw out there, but again, you're not going to top Williams. I mean, can we throw it out there already? But like the new theme that they released as a single from the trailer is bloody good.
Yeah, but it's still a spin on Williams. So
It is, yeah.
And then a Nightwing film. Any stories that you would like to see them pull from?
Look, I don't know if I'd want them to pull the story exactly, but I'd love for Tom Taylor to write the screenplay. That much I know for sure.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing about Nightwing is that he doesn't have like these iconic stories, except maybe the Judas Contract, which is when he becomes Nightwing. He doesn't have iconic stories like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, where it's like, oh, I want to see year one or whatever in a movie. I think that Tom Taylor's book is great to pull from, but yeah, I mean, I can't think of like an iconic Nightwing story that it's like, oh, you got to do this. I will say if they were to do a Nightwing movie, I would love, even if it's via flashbacks, to see his journey of becoming Nightwing, and then kind of like, what his life is like now that he is independent of the Bat and doing his own thing. But yeah, I would like at least to see his journey to becoming, and then also what's happening in the present.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Next email here. It is from Joel Haas. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCasters. I liked two of the questions that you read in episode 476. For both of them, I think you could do separate draft episodes. But this is getting a little into the weeds. So it seems like the ones that he's talking about, one is the idea for favorite Batman covers, and then favorite Batman stories. So in here, he's like, you could do covers by decade, by character, by theme, or by artist. I'll just say, Joel, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't know if I would do that. not that it's bad, but oh my gosh, that just that gets really digging in. And then for Bat stories, he says, you could do a draft more or less taking out the first 5 to 10 that everyone would have, like Year One, Dark Knight Returns, Hush, Long Halloween, etc. Where you could also have certain categories like noted above. Thanks for all you do. Have a great day, Joel. Thanks, Joel. So I appreciate the suggestions. Like I said, it seems like it would be a lot of homework, and that can be tough, but food for thought when we get around to those episodes. How about that? All right, and then we'll do this one last email here. This is from Gabe Nakamura. It says, "What's up? Hope you're doing well. I have 2 questions. Off the top of your heads, what are your favorite live action DC shows? For me, it's Watchmen, Superman and Lois, Peacemaker, The Penguin, and Doom Patrol. And also, how are you feeling about Superman's prospects at the box office? I'm excited for the movie. Guardians 2, that's right, Volume 2, and The Suicide Squad are among my favorite MCU and DCU movies. So I'm not concerned about whether or not I'll like it, but I'm still worried about its commercial viability. Do you think that normie, non-geek moviegoers are interested? Keep up the great work, Gabe." Thanks, Gabe. All right, so first question. Favorite DC live action shows? Brandon.
Well, I'm going to go back to my childhood and say Lois and Clark.
Okay.
I mean, can we count Batman 66, or are we going more modern?
It's a live action DC show.
Arrow, particularly the first 2 seasons. Again, early seasons, Flash were really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The first couple of seasons of Supergirl were really good. Titans. I still haven't finished Titans. I still need to watch the last season, but Titans I really enjoyed. And yeah, I'm gonna have to give a shout out to the Penguin, like the most recent, because that was really good too.
All right. I mean, yeah, I'd say Batman 66. I would say The Flash 1990. Like you said, the first 2 seasons of the new Flash or the newer Flash as well, but Flash 1990, freaking love it. Definitely agree about Doom Patrol again, especially the first couple seasons. Oh god, Swamp Thing, that one season we got was so
that was good too.
damn,
Yeah,
it was so damn good. It's still a heartbreaker. So yeah, love that. I really liked Legends of Tomorrow. I thought that was a blast. So yeah, I guess those are the ones that off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm forgetting ones, but yeah. And then how are you feeling about Superman's prospects at the box office? Well, I'll say this, and I hate to say it out loud because I don't want to jinx it, but initial tracking.
Shut up.
Okay. Initial tracking is terrible and nobody's coming.
Good.
Great. No, initial tracking is very strong. And thus far it is tracking to have the biggest opening of the summer. It's still early. We're still, what are we, 6 weeks?
Thereabouts, yeah.
About 6 weeks away. So things can change. I'm still burnt by the Flash. My butt still burns. It hurts. But for now, all signs point to there being a lot of interest in Superman. So, yeah, I mean,
about,
for now,
5 weeks. Just looking at the calendar, about 5.
Yeah, for now, it's looking good. So I am feeling good about it. And if the movie delivers what we all hope it delivers, I think that I still believe it can be the movie of the summer.
I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's like over there. I know we're talking about toys before, but what I have seen, there's like minute amount of Superman stuff and a shitload of stuff for How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, when I was at Walmart yesterday, 2 days ago, looking for Superman, there was a ton of Superman stuff. There was, yes, quite a bit of How to Train Your Dragon. They were right next to each other. And then quite a lot of Jurassic, but a lot of it was like stuff that had already been there, but then you were just starting to see some of the new stuff as well.
Yeah, Jurassic hasn't really gone away since Jurassic World came out, particularly with the cartoons. Like, it's just constantly there now.
Yeah, but they were all kind of next to each other, and they were all about equal. But that's just
definitely How to Train Your Dragon's got more over here at the moment.
There's a lot of it. So anyway, again, anything can happen. There's no such thing as a sure thing. We've seen sure things go south. We have seen sleepers blow up and become huge. We've seen movies do exactly what people expected them to. So, it's the old Hollywood adage of nobody knows nothing. I hope that those initial prospects prove to be true and Superman is a smash. And more importantly, that Superman is good and that we love it.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Well, we're going to close the Wayne Manor mailbox for now. If you've got something to send to that, you can send it to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. That will do it for this super episode of the show. Brendan, thanks for making the time. Always nice to chat about Superman, Batman, and any other fun, nerdy things that we feel like talking about.
This week even got you even crowbarred in a Superman the movie reference, which
Santa Claus the movie.
What did I say?
You said Superman, but that's okay.
They're very similar. The movie. So I've just got Superman on the brain at the moment. Hey,
don't we all?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it already is the movie of the summer. I bought a freaking Fortress of Solitude playset. That's where I'm at in my hype. Okay.
Yeah, and look, I've been wearing that shirt that you sent me. Around the place. I was walking through a shopping center the other day, and I swear to God, I was walking past a guy who's a similar vintage to us, and I saw him look at my shirt, and then he did a double take, and you could just see of just like, where did you get that shirt? That's the new logo. What's going on? You tell, because it was. I know if it was reversed, it would have been the exact same thing I would have done. Of like, that's the new logo. Where did you get that shirt? I'm going to have to look for that shirt.
Yeah, you got to make a friend in America who goes to Walmart.
Yeah.
Well, here, this also makes me feel good is that Catherine took Harley to go see Lilo and Stitch last week. And Lilo and Stitch was huge. It had a huge opening weekend, and they showed the Superman trailer beforehand.
Nice.
So Catherine, she texted me. She goes, "You'll be very happy that Harley was excited when the Superman trailer came on." And I was like, "That's my girl."
I actually, because I saw Catherine put that on Letterboxd and you not, and then I saw you. This is all around the same time. I saw you put Final Destination on Letterboxd. And I was just like, did they go all to the movies all together? And Andy was like, I ain't seeing Lilo and Stitch. And still Final Destination.
No. What happened is we couldn't get a babysitter for baby Andy for Lilo and Stitch. So
Yeah.
I stayed home with baby Andy. We watched Superman 2 and Catherine and Harley saw Lilo and Stitch. And then the other day, Catherine and I went to Final Destination during the day.
Right.
While the kids were at daycare.
I didn't see her put it on Letterboxd though, so that's what made me
think. It's on there. It's on there.
I must have missed it, yeah.
For what it's worth, the new Final Destination was really damn good.
That's going to be my franchise that I hit up for Scare-a-thon.
Yeah.
Is Final
Destination. I watched them all over the past couple weeks, and it was really fun.
I've never seen one of them, so
they're all the same.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's what they are. Anyway. Yeah. So regardless, thanks for chatting, Brendan. Love it. What else have you been up to? Where can people find you? Letterboxd, obviously.
Letterboxd, yeah, and on Facebook in the Real Friends groups. You'll be able to find me there, talking all things geeky and movies and whatnot.
Terrific.
Hanging shit on each other as we do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I already told you guys where to find me, but thank you as always for joining us. Thanks for downloading or streaming the show. Please do follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and rate and review us. That would be awesome. A 5-star review would be really nice. Doesn't cost a penny, makes us feel good, and it helps us out. So please, if you haven't done that, we would love it if you would. Again, find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. If you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, that email address, again, is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And that'll do it. Thanks again for joining us. On behalf of Brendan, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. And you know it's late because Harley didn't come.
I was going to say, you're going to have to go in and wake her up.
Yeah. Harley, where's your cameo this week? Come on, people expect the candle. Yeah. I didn't light it. Maybe that was it.
Oh, you're the one who jinxed it.
I did. Oh well. Tough crap. Just can't be on everyone.